You know, it's easy to take for granted at this stage of Christendom the universality of the Christian message, the Christian gospel, and the Christian movement. But what we see in the book of Acts is that such universality could not be taken for granted at all. In fact, Christianity is still a curious subset of Judaism 10 chapters in. And apart from the great shifts from the Jews to the Gentiles that we see most principally in the Jerusalem Council in Acts chapter 15, Christianity might have remained so. This shift begins with the tremendous vision that Peter has in chapter 10. Notice that the vision takes place 3 times, and 3 times Peter has the same response. What's that response? No, Lord. See, in many ways, Peter hasn't changed from the Gospels. He denies Jesus 3 times. At the Last Supper, he rebukes Jesus and says, no, your suffering shall never happen to you. The vision simply portrays animals that are unclean according to Torah, according to Jewish tradition, and Peter is commanded by God to rise up and eat, and Peter cannot imagine such a thing. The vision, of course, leads to Peter's entrance into Cornelius' house, which would itself have required a state of uncleanness. And there, in the middle of Peter's sermon, the Holy Spirit falls upon Cornelius and his household, and they speak in other languages. And I love the response of Peter and the people with him in verse 45 of chapter 10. The circumcised believers who had come with Peter were astonished that the gift of the Holy Spirit had been poured out even on the Gentiles. Astonished is the same Greek word used when people were astonished by the tremendous miracles that Jesus performed on the sick. They are in pure shock. It is as if they have just seen a withered hand made whole, or a lame person walk for the first time, or a blind person see for the first time under the miraculous power of God. It never dawned on them that Christianity was for the Gentiles until this moment. And at this moment, we, the reader, begin to see that this message is a universal message that, due to the grace of God, has touched even us. So I want you to live into this text this week. Pay attention to the clear racial prejudice that rests in the heart of the primary apostle of Jesus. And it is this prejudice that the Holy Spirit takes on head on in Acts chapter 10 and beyond.